Good morning, evening, whatever it is for you. Um, so your video, try not to panic too much because you're getting this early. I just have a conference on Thursday tomorrow, so just thought I could get all this done today so that I don't have to be worrying or thinking about it tomorrow. So, hopefully, a couple of announcements. Hopefully, you have been or maybe you've had a chance to look at those three curriculums that I gave you. I got in the Experiencing God Youth Edition, and I've kind of been checking it over and hopefully getting in the other one that I ordered as well. So if you don't mind, take a look and let me know what you think about those. And probably I'll have attached to this a schedule for when we might do those and what that would look like. And hold on, I have a call. So I'm back. Sorry about that. A friend from Ohio just called. See how we were doing. So, okay, I don't remember where I was, so I'll just pick up. So what we talked about Wednesday night is this. A couple things that I feel like teens and even Christians in general get maybe mixed up, and maybe things that hinder them from living the life that they really should be living right now is they have no idea of where they're headed and what the end goal looks like. And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about that thought that where we end up is maybe more important. And I'm not talking about heaven. I'm talking more about being the person that God's called us to be. I'll make that very distinct that we're not talking about ending up in heaven. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but more of becoming who's the who. What type of person are we becoming, and what type of person do we want to be? And that sometimes the end, if we know where we're headed and what type of person we're striving to be, it affects the way we live here and now. And so we'll discuss that. We'll talk about that. The passage is Matthew 7, 13 through 14, which talks about there being a narrow gate and a broad road, a narrow road and a broad road. So we're going to talk about how Jesus here, and some of my studying said that Jesus isn't talking about how many people are going to get to heaven, more so the path that we take. And so we're just going to talk about living a life of intention. How do I live a life that's intent on being and striving to be the person I believe God wants me to be? We'll have some examples, and but one thing I'll say is sometimes when we say yes to the one thing, it means we say no to 1,000 other things, and those 1,000 other things could be good things, but it deters us from being and striving for who we think God has called us to be. You see this in athletics a lot, that sometimes when somebody has the goal for what they want to do with their athletics, and they say no to a lot of other things that they potentially want to be involved in. Sometimes they say no to hanging out with friends because they need to practice, and they say no to playing another sport because they want to focus on one sport. And so it's not that they say no to bad things. Sometimes they say no to good things. But in order to strive and reach that goal, that's what their life then becomes about, and starts to live for. Kyle Price, the electrolyte guy that came in the fall, will excuse me, will be joining us again. So I'm going to talk kind of more about his story, and in the electrolyte story about getting on America's Best Dance Crew and how they got rejected 3 times, but their goal was to get on the show. And so what did it look like for them, and how did they feel? And sometimes when we're striving for things, we don't always have success, and sometimes we fall back, but we keep striving, and we keep living, and we keep straining for who God wants us to be and what that looks like. So that's what it is. That's what we're talking about. There's a beginning, there's an end, and the end should dictate, the end should shape, the end of where we're headed should point us and call us to be different now because we're trying to make it to the point of being who Jesus wants us to be. And I think it'll be fun. We're going to watch a video, a Numa video. I may put it on here as well. That kind of talks about that. The one thing, how do we live and breathe and not let anything distract us from the one thing that God's called us to do and who He's called us to be. I think that's it. Maybe something to add would just be to add to it to say sometimes when we don't have anything we're striving for, I think that's when the verse talks about we get carried up into the broad road that leads to destruction. That if we don't have something, that if our life really isn't being lived with an intent on seeking and being who God calls us to be, that we just kind of get swept into what everybody else is doing, and swept along into the current of broader society, and ultimately could lead to damaging and destructive things. So that's it. If you have questions, let me know. Other than that, we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.